very, very warm welcome for you
Thank
here.
you.
Before we even start, I would love to introduce our amazing viewers to Miriam, who is a trailblazer in her own right. She's a certified business coach. She has overcome a lot of obstacles in her life. So if you feel like, oh, Miriam's lucky, no, she's not. She has made this way for herself. Every obstacle, finding a way through it, around it, going past it, but not giving up. So Miriam is a author. Miriam is a certified business coach who works with empowering caregiving individuals and entrepreneurs find their light, become the best version of themselves. And you know what our podcast is all about, becoming the best version of ourselves. And here we have got an epitome of becoming the best version of yourself. So Miriam, from your own words, let's begin. Um, I would really want to say where I met Miriam. So I was in Paris. I was in this amazing conference organized by Ideas. I met beautiful women with golden hearts, and when Miriam was actually doing the talk, we were just having a conversation right before we went live, and Miriam said, "You actually started clapping even before I went on stage to do my talk because like I just knew it's gonna be awesome." So that's how I would epitomize her personality, her radiance, and basically, she's amazing, right? So you are in for a treat. I promise you that. Here we go. Right.
Oh, thank you for having me as your guest. I really appreciate it. So, for everyone who's watching, my name is Miriam. I am very motivating. I love inspiring people. I enjoy every day of my life. But I have to tell you, I am still blown away by the fact that I gave so many beautiful, full figured women more confidence when I was running my web shop in clothing for full figured women years ago.
Mhm.
I am amazed that I have been able to see so much of the world with my loved ones. But I have to tell you, there was a time when I was the caregiver, the cleaner, the cook, the chauffeur, the medicine woman, and working full time. It was a time when I was stressed, when I was overwhelmed. I was taking care of my husband, whom I met in 1998. So that's 20, more than 25 years ago. I was stressed, and it wasn't until a social worker asked me a simple question: Miriam, how are you really doing? And that's when I broke. I cried and sobbed for 15 minutes because of the heaviness. It was too much for me. And I was mad at myself because I didn't want my boyfriend then, because we weren't married yet. We weren't even dating for a year. I didn't want him to see a vulnerable Miriam. I didn't want him to see a crying Miriam. So I
Mhm.
was mad at myself because of that simple question. So when I got home, I looked in the mirror and I asked myself, Miriam, what about you? When will you start taking care of yourself? And the next day, I had a conversation with my boyfriend. His name is Martin. And after the conversation, I packed my bags, boarded a plane, and went back home to Suriname, my home country in South America. And I stayed there for 1 week. In those 7 precious days, I slept, I rested. I didn't know what self care was. So I just started somewhere. And I gradually got out of burnout city because that's what happened. I had burnout. It took me months, it took a long time. It didn't happen overnight. It took me quite some time, but I grew on a personal level. This self discovery journey of mine has been a journey with a lot of obstacles, but also triumphs. And all of this happened in 2003. So I started investing in myself, taking care of myself by learning how to set boundaries, which is difficult. Saying no to a loved one, I don't know about you, but it's really, really hard to do. But I had to take care of me as well. Because I realized if I don't take care of me, how can I take care of someone else? And I'm happy I did because in 2010, no, sorry, 2012, a couple of years later, I had a phone call while I was at the office. My husband, because we got married a couple of years later, he called me and he asked me, Miriam, can you please call your brother Patrick? And I said, why should I call my brother? I'm at the office. He said, please call him. I'm driving to his home right now. And when I called my brother, he was speaking so strange that I hung up within 5 seconds and called the paramedics. He was having a stroke while I was talking to him on the phone. He was partially paralyzed. He couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, he didn't remember our names. He didn't know what happened. So in those days, I felt the anxiety, the fear, all of those emotions. Um, um, and I reminded myself of the promise I had made years ago to never, ever, ever go back to Burnout City. So I started investing more in Miriam, taking more time for myself by delegating and asking for help. Because that's all I learned so much during those years, Roshi, that I needed to take care of myself. And that's exactly what I started doing again. But even though I was taking care of two people, two beautiful men in my life, I started my business, my first business in 2013.
We can applaud right here because you were a sole carer to your husband, to your full grown brother who had encountered a stroke, and you were the only carer for him. And despite both of those things, you started your own business. Is that right?
That is
That
so
deserves
right.
an applause. That deserves an applause.
Thank you
Spectacular.
so much. Thank you
Spectacular.
so much. And I
Miriam,
just want to add,
I would like to ask this question. So here is Miriam. You know, you are a full-time carer for your husband, and tell us, he was diabetic. Did
he
I?
was a diabetic and he started suffering from kidney failure. And in the end, he had a kidney pancreas transplant.
Right. So you were caring for him. You were caring for your brother going through a stroke. What had to happen in Miriam here and here to say that I am literally neck deep, emotionally struggling, trying to take care of these two people who I love so much. What got Miriam to start this business, to find herself and like, no, I want to do this?
I love this question. First of all, after the kidney pancreas transplant surgery, Martin was finally doing better.
Mm-hmm.
So 24/7 care became less. He still needed care, but I could breathe. I needed to breathe myself. So what happened is that in 2012, before my brother had a severe stroke, we were going to a party. And in Suriname, when women go to a party, we are all dressed up. So we went out to look for a nice dress for Miriam, and Miriam didn't succeed. And I got so angry.
Hmm.
And I said, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to start my own clothing business for full figured women.
Right. Okay.
And that's how Miriam started with her research. Okay, remember, I don't have a fashion background, right?
Hmm.
But I was so eager to show the world that
Mm-hmm.
we full figured women are
Mm-hmm.
beautiful too, inside and out.
Of course. Of
And
course.
that's how Miriam started. But before I launched my business, my brother had a stroke.
Right.
So after his stroke,
Mm-hmm.
when he could talk and walk again,
Mm.
I continued, and after a couple of months, I launched the web shop because I was so eager to show the world.
Miriam, we would like to dive a little bit deeper so that we can actually give our viewers the steps. So it's like here Miriam is, you're taking care now, your brother is recovering a little bit better, your husband's recovering a little bit better. And here Miriam goes to shop and realizes that there's this big gap in the market because you're not feeling seen, you're not feeling heard. Nobody's making the dresses for a full figured, glowing, radiant woman that I am. And you're like, no, I want to do this, right? I think that's where the urge came from. And then in general, self doubt comes in. Can I do this? Is this too big? How did you overcome that self doubt and took the first step towards it? Tell us about that.
Well, that's a great question as well, because I was like, can I do this? I don't have a fashion background. But to be honest, the desire
Mm-hmm.
to one, show the world that we are beautiful too, and number two, give more women around the world, worldwide, more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I wear a beautiful dress,
Mm-hmm.
when I put on my makeup, wear a beautiful dress,
Mm-hmm.
it empowers me. It gives me more confidence, like, hey, bring it on.
Yeah.
This is Miriam. And I want the same for every full-figured woman. Actually, every woman.
Yeah.
And that's whenever I was in doubt, whenever those limiting beliefs, because they are limiting beliefs,
Mm.
were rising, were when they came to my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, remember why you started this.
The big why, staying in track with your big why, keep
Yes.
your eyes on the big why and
Yes.
it around you.
Focus. Focus.
Yes.
And what I also did, and it takes a lot of courage to do this, is my support team, my
Mm-hmm.
family, my friends. I told them about what Miriam was going to do, where
Mm-hmm.
she was heading to. And I told them, whenever you see or hear that Miriam is in doubt,
Mm-hmm.
remind Miriam of why she started
Mm-hmm.
this. And I got so much support. It's
Wonderful.
unbelievable.
But if you hadn't asked for it, they would not know how to support you, right? So that happens so many times. We have loved ones who want to support us, but if you don't share your dream, if you don't tell them how to support you, they can't be there for you.
The thing is, what I learned, we can do it alone, but
Hmm.
when we do it together, we
Hmm.
go faster.
Correct.
And we learn from others. I mean, I remember when I was creating the website, I had help from specialists, experts who know how
Mhm.
to build a website. And they said, Miriam, if you do this and this, it will be better. And I was like, what are you talking about? It is my website. And then I realized, no, Miriam, you can learn from them. And this goes for everything in life. I mean, today I'm a coach. And I'm going to tell you about the transition.
Mhm.
In 2013, I launched the web shop.
Mm.
I went on national television. I was in newspapers. I
How did
mean,
it happen? Let's go deep again. So here you are. No, because see, this is where, like, mostly, I mean, this was me. I'm looking at this podcast. Somebody says, I did this. And most people would think, oh, you can do it. I can't. So when we go into the steps, realizing that I am just like you, I had self doubt. How did I overcome it? So here you are launching your web shop. So from there to going on national television, how did that come about?
I started bragging about the web shop on Facebook, on Instagram, all the channels. But
Brilliant.
it
Brilliant.
didn't matter if I was at a bus stop, I bragged about the web shop. And most importantly, I bragged about all the full figured women, the confidence they
Mm.
got. I mean, I received emails like, "Hey Miriam, thank you so much. I received so many compliments when I wore the dress I purchased, and I asked them, how did that make you feel? And they said,
Mm.
I had more confidence. I felt so beautiful. I'll never forget a story about a lady who purchased a dress. It was Christmas time, and she purchased a dress, but she had how do you call that? A stoma? Is
Okay.
it? Yeah,
Mm.
you know what I mean.
Mm.
And she said, I'm so afraid that
Mm.
they will see it through the dress.
Right.
And I had another dress which was cheaper. And I said, I would order the cheaper dress because I know for sure that in that dress they won't see a thing.
Mm.
After Christmas, she sent an email like, Miriam, this was fantastic. I felt like a princess. So I started bringing, and people, they started writing reviews. So at a certain point, national television sent me an email like, hey, we discovered your website and we would love to, just for 5 or 10 minutes, interview you. What do you think? And I said, well, of course. And I asked two clients
Mm-hmm.
to be in the show as well,
Wow.
because I wanted to show the world, hey, it's not okay, it's about me, but it's not all about Miriam.
Right.
This is what it's all about. And
Right.
those ladies, they receive so many compliments. I have done so many beautiful things, and it makes me so happy to see other people
Mm-hmm.
being happy, you
Right.
know. And one thing led to the other. Then the newspapers came, and
Should we just take one step back? Now, had you decided to keep it to yourself, oh, what will other people think? I'm not going to brag about it. I'm not going to post about it. What will people think? If that was missing, would you have still materialized like, your clients? That because I get this all the time. People have brilliant content. I mean, you talk to them and like outstanding talent. Oh my God, I don't know what other people are going to think.
yeah,
I don't have any value to offer. And I'm like, you are killing your own dream. So what I want, and that's why I dig deep into the story, just to show that, you had a dream, you went for it, but you did not sit there like this. You went out there, you said, at the bus stop, on social media. You weren't thinking who's gonna think what, they're gonna think I am like, too full of myself. You bragged about everywhere. You're like,
yeah,
this is how
yeah,
it is. I know
yeah,
this is amazing. I know this is spectacular. And here you got, and step by step. So it wasn't like you opened the shop and next day the TV people call you.
no,
Because whenever I mean, this was me. So if you look at a post or, oh wow, we are living this culture of overnight success, and over time, every person I meet, every person I talk to, there's no overnight success, isn't it? It's a step by step approach. Maybe people are put onto a newspaper or a TV screen, but how much has gone behind it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, brilliant. Go on, please do go on.
So I'm happy you brought this up, because you know what also helped me?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm human. So sometimes I was like, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
And what helped me was thinking, what will happen
Hmm.
if I don't do it? How many people will not get my help if I don't do it?
We have got two brilliant questions. So, whenever self doubt came in, keeping your eye on the big why. Why did you start in the first go? And would you suggest that it would help somebody who has got this big why written into a place where they can see it, their bathroom mirror, their
Yes.
board in
Yes.
front of their office? Yeah. Just as
Yeah.
a constant reminder of what your big why is. Not to nag you, but to keep you on track. Yeah,
Yeah.
involving people who can, I mean, in your case you were lucky. If somebody says, Miriam, you had loved ones who love you and who understand your dream. I have people in my life who love me but they don't understand my dream. would they still share their dream with the loved ones, or maybe just keep it to themselves?
Well, it takes some time. They can learn it. It won't be an overnight process.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. There's more involved. I would start asking, okay, what is your goal? What
Mm-hmm.
is it that you want?
Mm-hmm.
Also, I will also ask, what are your values?
Yes, it has to be value aligned. Mm-hmm.
What are your values? I mean, my values are freedom,
Mm-hmm.
gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
transformation, and
Mm-hmm. Right.
and these are also the values of my company.
Right.
The the love to help others, to serve others, to help others grow, the transformation going from A to B.
Mm-hmm.
The freedom to see, to say to others how you feel, but also the freedom to go, um, to explore, to go
Mm-hmm.
on a self-discovery journey.
And it was very much like, not like, nothing like I have against big companies, but it was so personalized. A client who could reach you and say that I've got a stoma opening, I can't wear this dress because I'm worried that it will be visible on a Christmas dress, and you're like, don't worry, you did not think about the profit, you think it's person centered, you're like, doesn't matter, she's taking a cheaper dress, but your focus was, how can I help you?
Yeah,
There comes the value, there comes your goal has to be value aligned, your value aligned is
yeah.
bigger one.
And I was sharing the story. So I ran the business, the clothing business, for 6 years, and in 2019 something happened. I remember it was a hot summer day, July of 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and I told Martin, my husband, I feel like I can help even more people. And he said, "What do you mean?" I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Well, actually, to be honest, I don't know yet. It's just a hunch. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a feeling that I need to close this business and go on another self-discovery journey."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Close the business?" I said, "Yes."
Mm-hmm.
So I did it.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a week to answer email messages, WhatsApp messages from clients like, "Miriam, what are you doing? Where can we find the clothing? I mean, what are you doing?" And I said, "I am so happy that I have been able to give you more confidence, serve you. Please continue to purchase dresses that are giving you more confidence." Anyways, it took me quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2020, no, in November 2019, I met someone online.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing the same course.
Mm-hmm.
It was a program, and she said, "Hey, I would love to talk to you. Maybe we can arrange a Zoom meet and greet." I said, "Well, great." Well, it took us 8 months, and it was of August 2020.
Right.
Finally had our meet and greet.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Hey, tell me a bit about Miriam." And I said, "Of course." And I was so busy telling my story, not paying attention to the screen. And when I finally looked at my screen, I saw that she was in tears.
Oh.
And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It wasn't my intention to make you cry. Maybe I should write a book."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "That's exactly what I wanted to suggest. And I would be honored to
Mm-hmm.
help you because I'm a writing coach." And I said, "No, sorry, I was just kidding. Who would want to read my book? Come on, I'm just kidding." She said, "No, I'm serious. You have no idea how many people you can help
Mm-hmm.
by writing and publishing your book." And I said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm sorry. I was just kidding."
Mm-hmm.
And 2 weeks later,
Mm-hmm.
I started writing.
Brilliant, brilliant. So all this started because you listened to that calling within. When you felt like, and if you gave, if somebody else in your place, they gave into the insecurity. Oh my God, I have worked so hard for this business. I can't shut it down. It's like, okay, everything has divine timing. And then, okay, this is what I feel right. And you listen to it. You're like, okay, new doors open.
Yeah.
New doors open. You did not know this is a writing coach when you connected with the lady, right?
Yeah.
Here you go. So yeah, I know. I always feel that, coming down from the head to the heart, it's so important. It's,
Oh.
it's not like logic is not important, analytics is not important. It is. It has got its own place. But logic can only take you so far. If you keep shutting down your heart, there's no heart to your goal, there's no heart to your bigger why. I don't think you can reach it. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And once again, I have to be honest that yes, sometimes I thought, oh, did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing
That's
by closing the business?
right.
And then I said, well, the universe, I trust you. I think you have bigger plans for me.
Exactly.
So I
Yeah.
started writing in August of 2020, and I cried a lot
Right.
during the writing process. I
Mm-hmm.
also laughed a lot. And I had such a great time. And 10 months later, I self-published
Mm-hmm.
Caregiver 2.0 From Burnout to Powerhouse. It was
Mm-hmm.
number one on Amazon.
Wow.
And I have helped so many people with this book. So
Brilliant.
I'm really grateful that yeah, I started writing my journey.
Miriam, tell us something here. I mean, say somebody who's listening to it, they have a story, a insight, a learning. They really know they want to write a book. They just have no clue. Other people write books, not me. What would you tell them?
I would tell them,
Right.
start writing, start where you are.
Right.
Actually, my writing process started because I started journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Journaling is the result of my book because I had written so much. And she said, send it to me, what you have written so far, the writing coach. And
Mm-hmm.
when I sent it to her, she called me the next day and she said, I was in tears again. You really need to write this book. So, everyone who is listening, I know you have a story in your belly.
Mm-hmm.
That story needs to get out of your belly because there is at least one person in the world you can help by
Mm-hmm.
sharing your story.
Yes. Yes.
So, if someone had told me a couple of years ago, Miriam, you're going to be an author, I
What?
said, no way. If someone had told me a couple of years ago, Miriam, you're going to be a coach, I would have said, no, I think you're mistaken.
Right.
Nothing is impossible.
No.
As
No.
long as you believe
Yeah.
and the desire is huge,
Hmm.
you will get there. The how doesn't matter.
No, no, but when you say the desire, the goal, the big why has to be aligned with your values. If you are just wanting to write a book because I want to impress other people by being a bestseller, I don't think that would be good enough a base to keep going. Yeah.
No,
No.
no. As long as you're there to help others,
Mm-hmm.
not only yourself.
Hmm.
Because when I help someone else, I'm also helping Miriam.
Exactly.
I'm also helping my loved ones,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when it comes to love. And when it comes to transformation, I am literally dancing when a client says, Miriam, I have taken time for myself. I went to the beach. I did something for myself. And I asked a couple of people for help. And I've done this. I am celebrating their wins, small and big.
Exactly. Exactly. At this point, I would love to share this. So, Robin Sharma is a big favorite, and I listen to this podcast. So, Jay Shetty and Lewis House, love them, love them, love them.
Yeah.
And the podcast you're listening here right now is because I was so inspired by them and their amazing guests. I was like, okay, I've got this, I can do this. And so, about his new book, Robin Sharma was asked the 4 questions that we can start our day with. This was just yesterday. So, one is, what am I grateful for?
Mm.
Second one is, what is it that I can let go of?
Mhm.
because we carry so much of this person hurt me, this person said that, some grudge about something that happened 10 years back, some insecurity. Third one is, what am I winning at? So as soon as you mentioned, like, celebrating the wins, that is so amazing. Like, when you start the day with just like an answer, what am I winning at? You're giving a jump start to your day, isn't it? Oh wow, I'm winning at it. You're giving yourself the confidence to go ahead. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
last one being, how can I make this a spectacular day, a perfect day? So I just started doing that today, but I found those questions really profound. I
Yeah.
mean, simple, straightforward, and but very, very profound, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, I couldn't help but intervene, and because that came up. So I was like, oh, I definitely want to share this. No, I am pretty sure our viewers are getting inspired, but most importantly, I'm feeling all charged up right now. So keep going, Miriam. Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, I'm happy you brought this up. Gratitude and appreciation. That
Yes.
is so important. And clients who tell me, Miriam, I have to deal with something that someone did to me
Mm-hmm.
10 years or 12 years ago, right? How do I deal with that? For
Mm-hmm.
me, forgiveness works. A
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness meditation. Because in the morning when I wake up, I pray first and
Mm-hmm.
then I meditate. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, this morning I meditated. I visualized our conversation. I visualized our authentic,
Yes.
organic conversation.
Yes.
And then the afternoon, Miriam in the garden, taking care of, taking me time, taking care of Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back to forgiveness, it's so important to forgive that person. Also ask forgiveness from that person because we don't know when
Mm-hmm.
we say something to someone else that hurts that person.
True. Very true.
It's once again, for me, it works because
Mm-hmm.
I can let it go and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to the past, I'm going to the future.
Right.
So, forgiveness, gratitude, appreciation,
Mm-hmm.
those are all the things that I can help people with in my coaching programs.
Mm-hmm.
It has helped me, and I'm pretty sure that it has helped a lot of clients already.
Mariam, tell us maybe about one of your clients' journey, as in, like, they came to you with something. What was the issue? Of course, no names there.
Yeah.
What was the issue? How did you help them? And how did they come out better off, becoming the better version? Yeah.
I will share that in a couple of minutes. There's a client of mine. She is an entrepreneur as well,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a caregiver to her husband. And one day she said, "Miriam, I don't know how to deal with this." And I said, "What is it?" And she said, "Well, actually, I don't know how to communicate my feelings because he is in a lot of pain. And
Mm-hmm.
I get it that he is a little bit, what's the right word to use? He wasn't nice in his communication towards her. And I asked her, "What are your values?"
Mm-hmm.
Because it's important to know. We as humans tell people
Mm-hmm.
actually how to treat us, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we found out that she needed to work on her values.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, after a couple of weeks, because this isn't a one night, it doesn't happen overnight. She sent me a message like, "Hey, Miriam, I have to tell you that we're communicating much, much, much better."
Mm-hmm.
And something else that's also important is that the way we communicate, like, how do we feel? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when I look at you, I'm not in your head. I don't know what you are thinking. I don't know what you are feeling, So we worked on that as well. But that's not all. That was her personal life. But when it comes to her business life,
Mm-hmm.
She also had, it was beneficial for her business
There are
life.
no compartments in our life, isn't it? Your
Yeah.
personal life affects your professional life and the other way around. So,
And she was thinking like this.
mm,
So I taught her how to look for possibilities. And
mm,
it can be a small possibility. I asked her, what is possible for you today?
mhm.
Start small, baby steps, because baby steps are also steps.
Yeah, yeah. A journey of 1,000 steps. We'll start with one, right?
Exactly. So I asked her, what is possible for you today?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, what do you mean? I said, what is possible for you today? Is it possible for you
Mm,
to have 5 minutes to
mm,
enjoy your latte? Is it
mm,
possible for you
mm,
to take 10 minutes
mm,
and go on TikTok and watch funny movies and laugh until your belly hurts?
mm,
Is that possible for you? Is it possible for you
mm,
to take a nice long shower and get
mm,
relaxed?
mhm,
What is possible for you today?
mm.
And what's possible for you next week?
Right.
Even though you're a caregiver,
Mm,
right? You're a caregiver, you're an entrepreneur.
mm,
So this is part of the coaching we did.
mhm,
And today she says, I am so grateful for you. I have learned so much when it comes to about looking for possibilities, grabbing opportunities. And with grabbing opportunities, I mean, and this goes for everyone, not only caregivers. Like, hey, I'm really busy. I know you're good at cooking.
mm,
Would you mind cooking for me someday?
mhm.
If that person says yes, grab that opportunity because you don't have to cook. And because you don't have to cook, you can do something for yourself.
Yeah, true, true.
That's
Asking for,
the ripple effect of
mhm,
asking for help.
right. Would you agree, Miriam, that somehow, I wouldn't say everyone, but asking for help feels like I am weak. That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I'm asking for help. If I am strong, I'm strong. I can do everything myself. I
Mhm.
can't appear weak before somebody else by asking for help. So, what would you say to that objection?
First of all, I realize now, well,
Mm-hmm.
I learned the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Asking for help
Mm,
is not a sign of weakness, it's
right.
a sign of strength, right? Society says you have to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
Society says, "Oh, you got this."
Hmm.
No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in my case, caregiving is no cookie cutter, okay?
Yeah,
It's really hard.
it is.
So in those days, when Miriam had a big S of superhero,
Mm,
I thought I could do it all by myself, and that's exactly why I didn't ask for help.
hmm. And that's what led to burnout, isn't
And that's what led to burnout.
it?
I feel that the superhero cape was falling down those shoulders, and I was like, no, get back here. Until
You couldn't.
I couldn't take
Right.
it any longer. So, asking for help,
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling each and every one of you watching this and or listening, is a sign of strength.
Right.
What will happen to you
Mm-hmm.
if you don't ask for help? But that's not all. What will happen to the people around you
Mm-hmm.
when you can't take care of yourself any longer?
Miriam, again, thank you so much for sharing this because, yeah, I have been there, not as a caregiver per se, but yeah, this was my weakness. I have to do everything myself. I can't ask for help. If I ask for help, that is a weakness, that was so ingrained. I wanted to ask, like, when you told about the story of this lady, like, your amazing client with breakthroughs. So here she is struggling with communication with her husband, who is in severe pain. So you understand this person can be cranky, they might not, talk very nicely all the time. And and she's not feeling hurt. What did she have to do in I don't know, let's say in a couple of steps to be able to be seen, to be able to be heard, that is in alignment with her values, to keep the communication going and be in a relationship that she wanted?
First of all, she had to be honest and share her what she was feeling. Like I, I
Mm.
statements.
So she
I,
needed to be vulnerable.
yes, like, hey, you just said something that really hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this and this. Is this correct? Is this what you meant? Because I feel like you say
Mm.
this.
Like,
And when you said that, is that what you meant? Because
thank you. Thank you for saying that, because so many miscommunications come from assumptions, isn't it? Somebody said that, and then you're like, oh, you said that, you meant that, and then you lost that word. So, this is so amazing. I want everybody to take note of that, caregiver or not, any relationship. When you feel hurt by somebody else, you said that, I felt hurt by this. Did you mean this?
yeah,
Confirming that.
yeah,
And would you agree how many misunderstandings could be avoided that way?
yeah, yeah. And
That's
it happens every day. I mean, in my communication with my husband, with my brother, especially after the stroke,
mm,
sometimes he would get angry,
mm,
or when something wasn't working the way he wanted or thought it would work, and he was like, and I was like, hey, bro, I'm
mhm,
here to help you.
mhm,
Okay, what is it? Tell me, what is it that I need to know? Because you just reacted in a way that really upsets me.
mhm.
And then he would say, I'm sorry, it wasn't my intention. I said,
There you go. Yeah.
okay, there you go. But this is how I felt.
But think of a different scenario. If you hadn't said that, and if you just keep in, oh, okay, and that will brew and brew and brew, and hearts
Ye-
grow apart.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. So there are a lot of things that I can touch on during coaching sessions, and everybody's unique. Everybody's journey is unique. My journey is not your journey, because a lot of people ask me, Miriam, what does it look like? The coaching program. I can touch on certain topics. For example, in my next group coaching program, the name is Shine, by the way, because I want everyone to shine brightly. Um, I touch on topics like your values, self-compassion, gratitude, celebrating progress, because this is celebrating progress is important
Mm-hmm.
during the journey. Positive self-talk. I touch on goal setting, action
Mm-hmm.
planning. So there's so much that I want to share, but I don't want people to get overwhelmed
Oh, oh my God.
because it's so much. And I love group setting, being in a group of like-minded people, but also accountability partners.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important. Knowing that there's someone in the group,
Mm-hmm.
or Coach Miriam,
Mm-hmm.
who's your accountability partner. And it might sound, how do I say this? Um, Harsh.
Mm-hmm.
When I work with people, I'm serious because I want to see progress.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, I am your accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
I will hold you accountable for
Mm-hmm.
something you have promised yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to touch on several things. I know that asking for help, going back to asking for help, is difficult. It's simple, but it's not easy because I've been there myself, but it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
In order to be able to ask for help to
Mm-hmm.
get there, you need to learn how to set healthy boundaries as well.
True.
You need to know about positive self talk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I ask you, have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and told yourself, Ruchi,
Mm-hmm.
you're so beautiful. I love you. I love your cheeks. I love your beautiful eyes. Oh my gosh. I
Mm-hmm.
love this part of your body.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done that?
I do the self love mirror exercise every single day. Yeah. And second thing, when you say that, now I recollect, I was maybe like 8 or 9. I had this habit of looking in the mirror when you say positive self talk, of talking to myself. My grandmother told me, "What's wrong with you?" And I stopped it. But I completely forgot about it. Now, when I talk of self love, the self love mirror exercise, that memory came along. So I knew it all the way, but I stopped it because somebody told me, "What's wrong with you?"
Yes.
I used to, like, nobody told me to. It just felt the right thing to do. Like, Ruchi, I'm so proud of you. You did this. And I'm like, oh my God, I was doing that as an
Yeah.
18-year-old. So,
Yeah. Sometimes we have to think like a child.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Children have got so much to teach.
Yeah. Yeah. Just think like a child and talk to yourself. I tell people I have a bestie and I have so many great conversations with her. Her name is Miriam.
I don't think that's by chance, is it? Miriam befriends Miriam. Besties.
Bestie. And I have such great conversations. Even the hubby says, who are you talking to? I said, Bestie, Miriam. I have a great conversation with her. And that's okay. That's okay because sometimes we really need to, well,
People who
sometimes,
get you.
yeah, yeah, just look in the mirror and talk to yourself. And I tell people in the beginning, if you're not used to it, it will feel awkward.
Yes.
Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? This, but you will get more confidence. You will feel much better.
Yeah, totally, totally. I've got no doubts on that. I
Yeah.
mean, I am a big, big, big supporter of the self-love mirror exercise. What are you proud of yourself for? Looking in your eyes and acknowledging yourself. And again, like especially being a caregiver, being an entrepreneur, being a parent, a whole lot of roles can be depleting. And I am a mom to a 3-year-old. So what
Mhm.
happens is a whole lot of times you forget about yourself.
Oh,
But I think
yes.
if you are feeling empty, if you don't take time to replenish it, you don't have anything to give anyone. Would you agree? Yeah.
You can't give what you don't have.
No, no, because if you try that, it's kind of like I'm tethering on to something, and then it comes from a place of sacrifice.
Yep.
It does not come from an overflowing heart. Like, I am full. Like simple things, I loved how you said that. Do you have time to watch some TikTok videos today? Do you have time to, people think, oh, you know what, 6 months later, I'm going to go on this exotic vacation. Okay, great, amazing. What can you do right now? Simple
Yeah.
things, the TikTok videos, the long bath, maybe just sipping your latte in peace. Simple things, the joy doesn't have to wait for some exotic
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah. When you talk about self-care, I was there. I was thinking
Mm,
the same way, in the same way.
mm,
People think that you have to be at the spa the whole day. As much as I would love to, I can't go to the spa every day, not even every week, not even every month,
no, same here.
right?
No.
So I tell people, but Miriam, what is self-care? I say self-care is doing anything that brings you peace. Whether it's reading a book, you decide. Whether
What
it's
massive.
sneaking in your car,
Mm.
sneaking in your car and
Mm.
singing and driving. I know I have a sister from another mister who does that. Sneaks in her her car and starts singing and driving. But
Mhm.
that's her me time. And that's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
That is okay. So
Right.
anything that brings you peace,
Mm-hmm.
self-care.
Mm. You can't be all things to everyone all at the same time without refueling. You
Yes.
can't be.
Yes, and I incorporate 3 times a day a short me time break.
Mm-hmm.
like only 5 minutes, only or 10 minutes, and half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
At least half an hour reading a book or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
journaling. Journaling I do every morning, 3 to 5 minutes. That's it. Whatever comes to my mind. Whatever comes to my mind, I write down, and it feels so good. Or a breathing exercise. Just take 5 deep breaths, breathe in, hold for count to four, hold for 7 seconds, and let it out, and count to eight.
Mm-hmm.
5 times. That's it.
Simple things, isn't it?
It's
But
simple.
like when you write about journaling, how I would put it is like, we don't keep our houses dirty. We clean our houses, right? So similarly, you don't keep trash here. You
Yeah,
take it out and get it out of your system.
get
Yeah.
it out, and you will be amazed
Mm-hmm.
at how many ideas you will get from journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Interesting. Interesting.
Thoughts become things.
Yes. Yes. I mean,
Yeah, that's journaling. Thoughts become things. I have written things, and when I'm reading things I've written a year ago, I was like, oh my gosh.
this has actually come true. How
Yeah,
did
this is what's happening right now.
uh-huh.
And that's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Miriam, first of all, I would really like to take a moment and just look back at all your amazing, spectacular. I mean, when you say achievements, it feels like as if it's a trophy to show the world. But it was on the journey of your soul's calling, of your inner being's calling that you went on, that clothing business. And just to kind of summarize, you went around, telling about that to everybody, going on big screen. But when it was time, you were okay to realign, wrap up, start afresh. Yeah. Now, that was there. Then your book, you know, would you agree it was absolutely, I mean, if you believe in the divine, yes, or whatever higher power it was divine timing,
Yeah.
meeting that lady saying, oh, yes, you should write a book. You're like, who, me? And here you're holding the book, right? So, no, I mean, it has been my honor and pleasure to have met you in person in the first place, danced with you like crazy. Yeah, I would dance at any opportunity. So yeah, I loved it. And with people like we had there, oh, I could dance all night.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was such an amazing weekend. Yeah.
Right. And I told you, even at that point, like, I am interviewing her in my podcast. But I was like, okay, I don't want to like jump right now. I'll come back at it later. No, it was my honor and pleasure to have you. Miriam, please share about, you mentioned about this 12-week course that you're
Yeah.
going to be doing. It's about the self-discovery journey. So you mentioned all that you touch in between. So who would be the people you say would benefit from this course?
Well, actually, anyone who wants to go on a self-discovery journey, anyone who is seeking more fulfillment in their lives, anyone who's a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
So, practically anyone who wants to learn how to grow on a personal level. But that's the self-discovery part.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
You
if
wouldn't
you're-
have been able to be where you are if you hadn't gone on
yes,
the self-discovery journey. Nothing would have
yes,
been possible.
start where you are.
Yeah, we go out there chasing the goals that society gives us and then end up feeling empty. But
Yeah,
to have the goals that align to your values, you need to dig deep, find
yes,
who you really are.
yeah. Anyone who wants to find balance, happiness, fulfillment,
Mm-hmm. Right.
this 12-week program is really good for anyone who's looking for that.
Mhm.
And it's 12 weeks because things don't happen overnight.
No, no, no. You have to go step by step. It's like our journeys, our talents are like, a closed bud. And when one petal opens, then there are more
Yes.
possibilities and
Yeah. Yeah. And
become.
I have to say that there are self tests
Mm-hmm.
that you have to do. And some of them, well, actually, all of them at the end of each module are like, ooh, ooh, this is tough. This is tough. But
Mm-hmm.
once you do the test, you learn so much about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
and how you can become the better version of you.
That is what we're here for, right? I'm trying to recollect who said it. I think it was Wayne Dyer. Don't die with your music within you.
Yeah.
You came here for a reason. We all carry this unique talent. We
Mhm.
can't just go away with carrying it within. It has to come out, bloom in its glory.
Exactly, exactly. And when you're not here anymore on planet Earth,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want others to say about you?
Mm-hmm. True. Very
How do
true.
you want to be reminded? What
Mm-hmm.
do you want others to say? Like, hey, Miriam was such a kind, loving,
Mm-hmm.
helpful, whatever. What
Mm-hmm.
is it that you want people to say
And
about you?
life isn't as long as we think, isn't it? The first 20 years are gone, well, before you make sense of things.
Yeah.
After 80, possibly you might not have so much energy if you live up to that. And so it cuts down and down. So honestly, we don't have as many years as we think of. And I would say reminding yourself of the mortality, whenever you feel, what are people going to think? I think reminding yourself of the mortality and the time you
Yeah.
have, I
Yeah.
think that gives you back the perspective of what's really important.
Yeah. What is really important for you? If you don't take action,
Mm-hmm.
where will you be tomorrow? Exactly at the same place you are right now. But if you take action,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask for help, and
Right.
if you take action, you will move from here to here to here to here to where you want to be.
Yeah, yeah. And I would really want to add just one more thing. I've met a few people I've read, and I was that person. When I achieve that, then I'll be happy.
Mm,
I'll be successful. I think the thing is no, celebrating your wins is so important, creating micro goals, and when you achieve, giving yourself the pat on your back. Because the problem is that is too far.
mhm.
Happiness, being happy in the moment right now, people are like, oh, I'm going to become complacent. No,
Yeah,
no. You are going to actually make the most of the moment, learn the most, be grateful for who you are, and keep taking gradual steps,
yeah,
celebrating your wins. Yes, win, make sure you reach there, celebrate the big win, but in the meanwhile, appreciating every little
yes.
step that you take.
Yeah, yeah, very well said. And there's nothing wrong with, okay, I'm here right now. It's 2024. By 2027, I want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
But what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
So it's April 2024,
Mm-hmm.
April 2027. Where
Mm-hmm.
do I want to be in May 2024? Where do I want to be
Exactly.
in June?
Mm-hmm.
Then take those baby steps, baby steps. So that's how I help my clients. Okay, this is the 3 year. In 3 years, 3 years from now, this is where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But let's take a closer look at where do you want to be next month?
Mm-hmm. That keeps it real. That keeps it doable, rather
Yes,
than
yes.
something.
Otherwise, it might be overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much. There's something I want to show you because I keep looking at it. One
Take,
second.
feel free, feel free. You're most welcome.
This is in my room. It's my display. Can you see it?
Uh-huh.
With the three most important questions
Uh-huh.
about my experiences.
Mm-hmm.
What have I experienced
Mm-hmm.
with my growth?
Mm-hmm.
How do I grow? What do I learn?
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing, my contribution to the world. For instance, I love traveling. That's one of my experiences, right? I
Mm-hmm.
travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How did I grow? By traveling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to communicate better in English.
Mm.
And what is my
Well,
contribution?
I would doubt that English is not your first language, the way you communicate. So I wouldn't even think that you.
Thanks to
I don't think
traveling.
what English is your first language.
And my contribution to be invited, as I'm saying this, as a keynote speaker at events. And what did happen in Paris?
That's where we met. Does this come from the three most important questions by Mind Valley? Yeah.
Yes,
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 I've done that. Yeah, my whole self discovery began from Mind Valley. So whenever you are like, oh, she's talking about the three most
yeah,
important
yeah.
questions, Mind Valley.
And you know, I've been a Mind Valley member for like 18 months now, and there so much has happened in those
Yes,
18 months.
yes, yes.
So the three most important questions, I printed out. It's on a display. So
Hmm.
whenever I'm working, so every now and then I'm watching those three most important questions, and I'm like, look look what's happening. I
Hmm.
mean, speaking all over the world,
Right.
experience, learn how to tell my story better. That's the growth part, and the contribution. Organize master classes, teach people in group coaching sessions, whatever. As long as I can contribute,
Mm-hmm.
help other people grow
Mm-hmm.
on a personal and also a business level.
Yeah, totally. No, I mean, it was so amazing to obviously have this conversation, but I think your magic in like as a speaker is phenomenal. And I
Thank
would say
you.
possibly our audience could not possibly experience that because obviously you're not on the stage speaking. But yeah, this was a different kind of experience. And you're very real, very authentic. And thank you so much for being vulnerable, sharing your journey, sharing your growth, and if any of our viewers would want to be a part of, would want to work with you, would want you to be their coach, or would want to join the 12-week program that you're offering, what would be the best way to get in touch with you, ma'am?
The best way is have a close look at my website, meriamboldewijn.com, my first and last name.com. Um, I will share the page of the 12-week program, I think within a couple of days. I
Mm-hmm.
will also drop it in the comments here for everyone. I'm on social media. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, everywhere with my first and last name. Very simple. Or you can send an email to support at miriamboldewijn.com if you have any questions. But my website, I would highly recommend my website because all the social media links are also there.
Yeah.
You can find it over there. And I can't wait to change more people's lives.
Oh, amazing, 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 Miriam. So here we are wrapping up. I'm pretty sure we have got loads who would love to work with you. Like, oh, Miriam, I'm so inspired to be with you. Three pearls of wisdom, which, somebody watched all of this. They are like, oh, all fired up. And they're like, what do I do next? Where do I go from here? Too much overwhelm. One, two, or three things, whichever you feel right, where you can say, I can do this. So can you? What would you tell them?
The first thing I want to share is start where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Start where you are today.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is don't compare yourself to others.
Yes.
Please don't compare yourself to others. Your journey is not someone else's journey, and someone else's journey is not your journey. Okay?
Yeah.
And the last thing is treat yourself with the same love and compassion you so freely give to others.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I want to leave the audience with these three important things.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank
Just start there.
Right. Okay. Wonderful.
Very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you so, 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 so much for giving us your time. This brilliant, amazing conversation. I've had my own breakthroughs even just conversing with you. Definitely going to be communicating better and making lesser assumptions. No doubt on that. Yeah, if I'm hurt, did you mean that? I'm going to clarify that for sure. My husband's going to be a happier man. So
I love that.
I'm sure of that. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
my biggest takeaway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mariam. Here we wrap up, and I would love to stay in touch, and all of our audience know how to get in touch with you. Other than that, the links will be there in the comments below. Thank you so much.
Thank you.